Okay, so before we do so, a quick formal introduction on my end, guys. First of all, good evening to all of you, and good morning to students from other time regions as well. And again, my name is Mr. SHOIAB. I will be your cybersecurity trainer for the rest of the duration of the course. I've been working in this domain of cybersecurity for the last 7 years. I've been training students since the last 5 years or so, and my specialty is in web application penetration testing. Okay. But again, I train students on these two courses specifically: certified ethical hacking, the first fundamental course to get into cybersecurity, to get started in cybersecurity. And then my specialization after that is web application pen testing. Okay. So, yeah, that's a short intro on my end. Now, one second. I hope I'm audible on all platforms. I'm taking demos for multiple different organizations at the same time. Right. So now, when we talk about this course, Certified Ethical Hacking, this is something provided by an organization called EC Council, guys, a very well recognized organization on the internet around the world as well, obviously. And it's based in the United States itself. Okay. And this is something which specializes in certifications and in training programs in cybersecurity. And the course Certified Ethical Hacking is something that they have designed for people who want to get into this domain of cybersecurity, who want to shift their careers to cybersecurity, who want to get started in cybersecurity. The first go-to fundamental course is Certified Ethical Hacking. And the current version running right now is version 13. Okay. Every few years, the version gets updated and the latest technologies or the latest terminologies are added in this course. And the older, outdated concepts or the outdated technologies are, I would say, redacted. Okay. Now, when you talk about this course, Certified Ethical Hacking, guys, a lot of students have a misconception that hacking and ethical hacking is same, and there's no difference in between those two terminologies. So let's clarify that first. So let's start the demo with the definitions of what hacking is and what ethical hacking is and how they are different from one another. Okay. So when you talk about hacking, this is basically the procedure of trying to gain access to information systems. Now, when I say that phrase, gaining access to information systems, these could be anything. They could be as small as a mobile phone to as big as a firewall or a web application server or a database. So hackers or cyber criminals try to get access to these devices without the permission or without the knowledge of the organization or the person owning those systems. So let's say if I've hacked your phone, it basically means I've complete remote access or remote control of your phone and the data within it. I can steal your data, I can destroy your data from your phone, or I can sell that data to other people without your knowledge. Okay. And this is more often than not done for the hacker's benefit. Okay. So it could be personal, again, financial benefit or just for fun. Okay. So to read out the definition again, hacking is the procedure of trying to gain access to information systems, any sort of it, without the permission and without the knowledge of the organization owning those systems. And this is usually performed by hackers for their own benefit or sometimes even for fun. Okay. Now, if hacking is such a malicious task, if it is such a criminal or illegal activity, how do we have a course called ethical hacking? And how is this getting ethical in the first place? Like ethical or legal in the first place? So, to define ethical hacking, on the other hand, this is the procedure of trying to find vulnerabilities. So, this terminology called vulnerability is something that you'll keep coming across a lot in the upcoming sessions as well. Okay. To define it, it's a loophole, it's a flaw in the security of the information systems. And hackers take advantage of these loopholes itself to get access to these devices. So, your job as an ethical hacker is to find these vulnerabilities or loopholes in the information systems. And this is done with the consent and with the knowledge of the organizations. So, you work hand in hand with the organization, they appoint you or they basically employ you to find these vulnerabilities in their systems. Okay. And once those vulnerabilities are found, it's your responsibility to report it back. And once it's reported back, the company will apply the necessary security updates that you suggest, also commonly known as the security patches. And once these security patches are applied, no other hacker or no other cyber criminal can take advantage or exploit these flaws and cause any further cyber threats. Okay. So your job in ethical hacking is finding the vulnerabilities and basically reporting them back to the company so that they can apply the necessary security updates. And in that way, you're performing you're adding a layer of security around the organization and preventing all sorts of cyber threats. Okay, is that clear? Any questions or doubts regarding these two definitions, guys? Dikshita, Ismail, Narendra, or Halim? Any
Uh,
questions? Any
no. All good so far.
perfect. Now, depending on these two definitions, guys, we can categorize the types of hackers as well. So there's three broad categories. There's someone known as a black hat hacker, a gray hat hacker, and a white hat hacker. Okay. Again, these are the most commonly known categories. There are others as well, but these are the widely used or widely available hackers on the internet today. Okay. So when you talk about black hat hackers first, these are basically cyber criminals, or again, the attack, I would say, indicators who perform hacking for their own benefit, okay, or for fun. These are the people who cause loss to an organization through various sorts of cyber threats. So they perform hacking for their own benefit without asking for consent or permission or without the knowledge of the organization. So this is the bad end of hackers. On the other end of the spectrum, we have white hat hackers. White hat hackers are also commonly known as ethical hackers, and these are the people who abide by the laws and policies of the organization, and they work hand in hand with the organization to secure it from these so-called cyber threats. Okay. And in between, there's a third mysterious category called grey hat hackers. Now, these people are also commonly known as bug bounty hunters. So they are people who, like black hat hackers, don't ask for permission first. But once they do find a vulnerability, they report it back to the company, like a white hat hacker. So it's the combination or a mixture of both the properties, black hat as well as white hat. Okay. Not asking for permission, but still reporting it back. But there's a minor catch here. They don't report it for free, obviously. They would report it for a bounty, for a financial reward. Okay. So they're working both offensively and defensively at various stages for their own benefit as well again. But they're not risking the organization in any way. Okay. So they demand a small bounty, a financial reward in return for reporting the vulnerability. And hence they're called as bug bounty hunters, hunting for bugs or loopholes in organizations for a small reward. Okay. Now, no matter what category of a hacker you take, black hat hackers, gray hat hackers, white hat hackers, all of these are professionals who perform hacking or ethical hacking in a certain procedure. And that procedure is called cyber kill chain. Some organizations also refer to this as hacking cycle. So hacking cycle or cyber kill chain, same thing. Okay, do not get confused by that. Okay. To define it, it is the procedure that hackers follow to perform a successful cyber attack. And the same knowledge of this procedure also allows cybersecurity professionals, such as ethical hackers, to understand how these attacks are being performed, to detect them at every level of the organization and prevent them at the early stages itself. Okay. So again, the procedure to attack or defend are pretty similar, okay, with minor changes here and there. And that entire list of steps taken collectively are called as cyber kill chain or hacking cycle. And in our course, Certified Ethical Hacking, we will be learning each of these steps in the cyber kill chain or hacking cycle in detail. And the cyber kill chain consists of five important steps to it. Okay. So there's something called as information gathering, there's something called as scanning, then there's something called as gaining access, then maintaining access, and then reporting or clearing traces. These are the five steps involved in the cyber kill chain. And as a professional cybersecurity person, you need to understand each of these phases very well. Okay, understand how they are interlinked with each other and what is the procedure followed in each of those steps. Okay, so we're going to talk about those now. Any questions or doubts up to this point? Anyone? Dikshita, Ismail, Narendra, Sabarnath. Okay, perfect. Hardly no questions on your end as well, I suppose. Okay, right. Coming back to this, again, as mentioned, oh, Sabarnath, I think you've joined a bit late. No worries. This session is being recorded, so you'll be getting the recordings as well. Okay. But again, as we have discussed, we were talking about the course Certified Ethical Hacking, and we're just getting started. So don't worry, you haven't missed out much. Okay. So now, when you talk about the cyber kill chain, guys, as mentioned, these are the five steps followed in the exact same order. Okay. Let's talk about the first step, which is information gathering. Now, some organizations also refer to information gathering as reconnaissance or footprinting. Okay. So again, different names for the same procedure. Do not get confused. Various organizations have built their own frameworks and given out their own names, but the logic is same, the procedures followed are same, just different names or different terminologies from different organizations. Okay. So in this step of information gathering or reconnaissance or footprinting, the main objective here is you try to gather as much data or as much information as possible about your client or your target organization. And an important point to note here is all of this information is obtained passively. What I mean by passively is you do not contact the organization in any way. You do not let them know that you're getting information about them. All of the data is obtained from publicly available resources on the internet itself. Okay. The more information you gather, the more possibilities you find of attacks in the upcoming stages. Okay. So these in pieces of information allow you to connect or initiate attacks on those devices in the organization. But the main question that arises here is what kind of information are you looking for? What are you trying to search on the internet? And these are the pieces of information you would require to gather. So there are IP addresses, network blocks, host records, DNS records, domains, subdomains, operating system information, employee details, contact numbers, email addresses of those employees, and usernames and passwords as well, if they got leaked anywhere on online data breaches. Now, believe it or not, all of this data is readily available on the internet itself. All you need to know is what those websites are or what those, resources are from where you can get this information. Okay. If I had to show you a very simple example for this, a live practical example, I can open up my browser here. And in my browser, I can now do a quick search for a website called DNS Dumpster, a very popular website in the cybersecurity circles, capable of giving you the DNS records for any organization. Now, what I mean by DNS records are the linking of their domains and their IP addresses for the organization. So let's say there's Netflix, and if I had to get information about the Netflix server's DNS records, I can just search the domain name here, and this starts providing me the entire list of DNS records for that company. So, firstly, where are their servers located? In which region of the world are they located in? How many servers do they have? So, these are all the different web servers of Netflix hosting these so and so websites and their exact public IP addresses. So, these IPs are very crucial for a hacker or an ethical hacker to perform the upcoming stages of the attacks. On these IPs itself, you perform scanning and gaining access later on. So, these pieces of information are very crucial. Okay. So these are all the various domains and subdomains of Netflix and their exact IP addresses, and also gives you information on who is hosting them and what servers are they using. Nginx is basically Linux servers. Okay. Scroll down much further. These are all their web servers again. Then you get information about their mail servers as well. MX records are for mail servers. So Netflix right now has one, two, three, four, five mail servers. Okay. These are all the servers through which all the mails for Netflix are being routed through. And then there are DNS servers as well. There are four DNS servers, and these servers itself hold all of this information. Okay. Scroll down much further. This is a graphical representation of their entire topology. Okay. How these servers are interconnected with each other. Okay. Now, this information is given out by Netflix itself over the internet. So for their clients or for their customers to connect to their services, you need these IP addresses publicly available. Okay. And they're scattered across the internet on various servers. This website DNS dumpster collects all that information and puts it in one single place for easier access. So this is nothing illegal. This is nothing against the law. Okay. So all of this data is publicly available, but it's scattered in different locations. So these websites are gold mines. They collect all that data and organize it for you and put it in one single place. Okay, so that it's easier for you to go through it. Okay, so DNS dumpster is specifically for DNS records. Similarly, there are other websites for other pieces of information as well. Okay, and all of that data needs to be gathered. Okay, using these websites and information gathering phase. Okay, once all that information has been gathered, that is utilized in the upcoming phases. In the next phase called scanning. Okay. Scanning can also be referred to as enumeration, again, just an alternative name. And the objective here is we get some extra information, but by active and aggressive methods. So the important point to note here, earlier we got the information passively from third-party organizations or third-party websites. Here we make active and aggressive connections. What I mean by that is whatever IPs you obtain, whatever domains you obtain, whatever email addresses you obtain, now you make connections on those directly. Okay. So you make direct connections with those and you try to get some extra data. And that data again can be categorized in three parts. There's network scanning, port scanning, and vulnerability scanning. In network scanning, you figure out in their internal organization, in their internal network, what all devices exist. So, what servers are they using in their internal network? Do they have DHCP servers, DNS servers, FTP servers, etc., etc.? Are they having any firewalls? Do they have any protection? Again, intrusion protection devices, detection devices, or prevention devices, IDS, IPS systems. Okay. How many client operating system devices are they using? Okay. So getting a network topology of their internal network is network scanning. Once you know what devices are available in their network, on those devices you perform port scanning, figuring out what applications are they using, what services are running on their devices. And once you know what services are running, what applications are running on those devices, you run vulnerability scanning. Okay. To figure out if any of those services or if any of those applications has a loophole to attack on, if any of them is misconfigured, if any of them is running on an outdated patch, okay, if any of them has an open port which is accessible without a password, okay, without any authentication. So those vulnerabilities are found in the vulnerability scanning phase. Okay. And during this phase, we'll be using two very important tools. One is called as Nmap, which stands for Network Mapper, a very popular tool, been there since 1997 and still used in the latest applications as well. Completely open source, accessible for everyone to use. Okay. And the other tool is called Tenable Nessus. Now, this is not open source, guys. This is a very commercial tool. Oh, not that one, sorry. Second link, yeah. Tenable Nessus, and quite an expensive one as well. So if you click on buy, it's around $7,000 or so. That only for 1 year subscription. Okay. But this tool is capable of telling you which system contains what vulnerabilities on what services or what applications. Okay. Gives you everything in an automated report. Okay. And that report is again handy for pen testers to verify. Okay. So again, we'll be practically working on these two tools, Nmap and Nessus, in this phase of scanning. Okay. So once all the information is obtained, once you know what devices contain what vulnerabilities, next step is nothing but attacking those systems. That is gaining access. Okay. So gaining access is where basically you try to attack the target organization, okay, on the vulnerabilities that you have found in the earlier phases. So the phase where the real hacking occurs. Okay. So all the data that you have obtained up to this phase is utilized, and now you attack the target system or the application or the entire network. Okay. So one of the core topics of our subject of the entire course, okay, covers a vast variety of modules, each of these one by one. Any questions, any doubts up to this point? Deekshita, Ismail, Narendra, Sabarnath, and Hari.
Oh, no, as of now, all good.
Oh, so sorry, Ali. Your voice got overlapped with other students. Apologies. Could you please repeat your question one more time? Apologies. Mm-hmm. 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 Good question. So the question here that was asked by one of the students is, if the information is so publicly available, why can't they hide it? Maybe that publicly available information is leading to attacks. Now the point here is, Halim, for your customers or your clients to access your data, they need to know what that address of those IPs is. So if I had to connect to this website over here for Netflix, so let's say there's their web page here, netflix.com or about.netflix.com or assets.netflix. This public IP again needs to be available on the internet, because unless and until you know what that IP is, you cannot connect to it. Okay. It's very similar to your house address. You cannot hide your house from anywhere. It is there available on Google Maps. It is visible to every passerby on the road. You cannot hide your house. It is visible to everyone. Okay. The issue here is not your house being visible, but your house not having proper security to it. So your house needs to have locks that no matter who passes by on the road, no one is able to enter it without your permission. Okay, without your monitoring. So whoever comes into your house through the gate or goes out of your house needs to be monitored. And again, there needs to be a protection that he doesn't enter your house without your permission. So there needs to be a lock at that door. So our job as penetration testers is to see to it that that house has the proper locks on it. Okay, we cannot hide our house. We cannot hide it, let others come into it. Okay, the people we right. So the thing is, you need to be visible with their public and information public itself. But the thing is, when information device are visible, no one should enter into it without authentication or without the rules established. Okay? So this needs to be public for client customers to access the web servers and their services. It be access. Okay. Oh yeah, Dikshita, you were asking a question.
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. Okay. Going forward, so as mentioned, the next topic is so the main objective of this module over here is to understand how to perform attacks and the feature of these attacks on every single device that could possibly exist in an organization. So there's obviously some hacking here. So if you have any device, any operating system, whether it is Windows or Linux, okay, those are the most commonly used platforms. Then how do you crack or bypass password for any of those devices? Okay, so this is very handy when you are a lot of your own system. If your organization faces or an attack, and if your systems have been compromised, and if you have been logged off your own devices, it's important to know how do you get back access to your data. Okay, so if you're logged out of your own system, how do you hack the password of that system, or how do you bypass the password back access to your data? Is what we learn in system crack with operating system passwords. Then comes malware attacks. Malware is another malicious software, and these are something which are very commonly used by attackers from various cyber threats. Some commonly used malwares are viruses, worms, trojans, spyware, whatnot. So we'll practically learn what these malwares are. We'll learn how to create these malwares. We'll learn how to detect these malwares in our systems if they are secretly installed, and we'll also learn how to remove them. Okay, from our systems. Okay, once we know that they are existing in our devices. Okay, then there's a bonus concept called malwares advanced. Okay, this is a bonus concept not included in the curriculum, so I'll be sharing the resources first. If you're having some experience in Python programming, then this could be handy for write your malwares using Python. Please note, for this course, there is no requirement for any programming language. Okay, this only works on the basis of certain tools which is in organizations in real time. This one domain in security called malware development for programming. Okay. To have a glimpse into that domain, I've included this. Okay. But for CEA, there is no requirement for any programming language. Okay. Cybersecurity is one of the.
Sorry,
Sorry.
sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, Dikshita, no problem. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I was just asking, like, since I'm from a non-technical background, like, I have no like knowledge of the programs or this, like, how would it help? Yes.
Nothing to worry about, Dikshita. So even if your background was designed in such a way where we explain everything from scratch. Okay. So in other institutes, the prerequisites is you have to have knowledge already on networking, like for instance, some basic scripting. But nothing as such over here. All the topics required are included in the courses. So first we have more in the courses networking fundamentals itself. Okay. So even if you're
Oh,
from a non-IT background, nothing to worry. I'll be explaining everything from scratch. Okay. All the pre included in the course. I'll explain it to a manner to anyone a manner that you have no clue about what this domain is about, and we'll learn everything from scratch.
thank you so much.
Right. Moving on, after that, we have network penetration. So we learn certain attacks called sniffing attacks, man in the middle attacks, denial of attacks, hacking Wi-Fi routers, and cracking Wi-Fi router passwords. Most of these terminologies might seem gibberish. Don't worry. As we progress, we'll learn what these attacks is used for. Something is where you can capture data of others in local network. Denial of services where you can attack servers and crash their servers and deny the service of those servers. Actually, you overload the servers with huge amounts of traffic crash. Hack networks is where you try to crack Wi-Fi router passwords. These are attacks that are possible in a local network. We'll learn those attacks as well. And where you also learn the remediation. How you prevent whole over vulnerabilities and how you remediate those attacks from happening. Then we learn how to hack phishing attacks. Phishing attacks are something which are rising over the year and they're getting more and more popular. So hackers try to create fake login pages and they try to fool victims into giving out their credentials. So whether it's media platform, bank login pages, login pages, hackers are capable of cloning anything in today's world. So how are these created? How do victims and send these credentials? Is what we learn in social science. Then comes servers and web applications. Organization is a website that acts as a face for the organization. And most of the vulnerabilities or loopholes are from the website itself. So we practically find vulnerabilities on the front end of the website or back end of the website as well. So to list out vulnerabilities, SQL int attacks, cross-site string attacks, broker authentication attacks, file upload attacks. Now, please use the same gibberish right now. As we progress with our class, you'll understand the levels of each of these terminologies. So these attacks basically allow get access to databases of the ocean, inject malicious scripts in the servers and get more upload malicious files and get to clients of websites. So all of those these is what I'm doing. So practically each of these ones, and you'll decide what each of these are in the upcoming sessions. Then comes evading techniques. So every organization has some security measures, like intrusion detection systems, intrusion prevention systems. So how do hackers bypass those? How do they evade those? So what are the loopholes to check for in these security devices? That's what we learn in evading. Then comes vulnerability assessment. It's a very important point. So when we talk vulnerability, we use a tool like Nessus, and this Nessus gives a report kind of list of all the vulnerabilities in the organization. Just can't blind trust the report and leave it as is. You need to verify that report. So whatever vulnerabilities are shown through this report, you need to verify those and you perform manual checks on that. So that is vulnerability assessment. Assessing every vulnerability that report manually is truly positive. Vulnerability assessment. Every vulnerability shown in the report. For that, we'll deploy whenever time permits. A regular tool used in organizations in real time to perform assessment and pen testing. Okay, we'll be working with this tool as well. Okay, then after that, we have last mobile phones will attack an Android phone and get remote connections to Android through this map. So if you carefully observe, check this module just to act each and every single end, secure each and every single. As I want to because web application servers or databases, operating servers, line servers, firewalls, mobile support messaging organization, to secure each and every device here. Okay, that's the objective of gaining access, testing the security of every single device possible. Once that is done, this is again the core of the subject. I think around 60% of the course is on the subject. And after you have two more topics left out, main lesson limiting or clear cases. Okay. Before you say any questions or doubt to this point, any access modules. I know a bit gibberish, a lot of jobs, but some Dikshita, Harleen.
No, no,
Okay. Right. Yeah, Dikshita.
no, I still agree.
Oh, right. So this is, like I mentioned, one of the core topics. We have two small topics of maintaining access and reporting notifications. These are very small topics. They can be like 1 or 2 days on that. Main one is once you have got a remote connection to a system, how do you maintain connection? Which means, let's say if I've attacked your phone, even if you restart your phone, how do I stay connected to it? That's what maintaining access is. So we learn how to hack 8% devices. Okay. So hackers try to reading the owner and perform various post-exploitation tasks. Exploitation tasks in the sense, if one device is from that device, how do you send that to other devices in the network? How do you maintain persistent connections? What is getting access? Yeah. And after that, finally, you have report clearances where ethical hacker generate a report for the organization, elaborate holes you found, and providing the solutions as well remove loopholes. On the other hand, if reporting it, a black hat hacker will try to the evidence. Some cyber criminals try to perform the act anonymous, how to move these, how the data footprints that they generate and erase evidence of actions and traces. 1 second, guys. So as like all phases, the last phase of the traces possibility. As an ethical hack, how you generate reports and somebody or as how do they remove I mean sorry, not the how do they remove the evidence of their actions? How do they hide of the attack being performed? So the course will run in 2 simultaneous tracks. We learn the attacks, how the attacks are performed by cyber criminals, and we also learn the remediation techniques. How do ethical hackers, how do cyber security professionals prevent these attacks in real time? Again, as mentioned before, we dive into all the advanced topics, we have prerequisites. So we'll talk about working fundamentals. That's going to be the topic for tomorrow, actually. Just a uh, brief format for the class tomorrow. So
Hi,
where we talk about
hi.
network.
Actually, I have a question. So what are the main tools that we covered in such use? Even Splunk tools there, and what are the
Right. So what tools are we going to be covering this to
Hmm,
list out a few? So when you
hmm.
talk about information gathering, it's all websites as mentioned, the available resources. In scanning for NMAN, we go for using tools like John the Ripper. This is a password cracking tool. Then we talk about Wireshark for
Yeah, why
packet
should?
sniffing. Wireshark for packet and packet line. About network and exploit framework as mentioned, and a website called XYD. For testing, we run Bursuit application for web application testing. A concept called SOC, Security Operations Center, tool called with a civil security information. For that, we'll be working with Splunk. This is not any other organization in C. I'm going to give a brief intro on this tool for Splunk. So these are some most common tools we're working on. Okay.
Okay.
Nmap, Nessus, Splunk, etc. Okay. And a few more. I might have out a few. Yeah, these are what are asked in job description today's world in all the in the latest ones, and we'll be working on all of those. And most important, which is this operating called Linux. So all of these tools are mostly pre-installed in this single Linux. Okay? We're working with this in the upcoming sessions. There's 600 plus tools, and all the tools are pre-installed. So as you can see, Nmap, it is by John. All these are pre-installed in the Wireshark. So you need to install each of these. This is packaged in one single operating system. So with this a lot. Okay. And again, as as mentioned, in the next session we'll talk about, as we mentioned, what is networking, what are IP addresses, what is of IP, what are the categories, what are public IDs, what are private IDs, what are classes. We'll talk about these basic first. So fine. As mentioned, getting it from the base, nothing to worry about. Losing fundamentals, even if you're from a IT background. Okay. And courses for a duration of 35 days. We have from like for 1 hour each, and the batch allocated 9 days standard. Okay, that was thanks for the and yeah, that's it for the. Any questions? Or so?
Like, so do you understand like which had non-technical background? Like, was my question was like, do we get to work in like exposure like assignments or like how is the class content? I mean, is it theory or practical?
Okay, so one question is the link. So Harleen will not. Okay, so it's the or again, the article actually. So for the first 1 week at least, the link will not change. It's going to be the same link. But with that, I'm going to club both your batches into one. It might be same or might not, but you'll be getting information prior to the change itself. Okay. Secondly, when you talk about a ratio of practical to theory knowledge, it's a 40 ratio. Okay. 60% is practical based and 40% is based. So in the 1 hour session, we have about the 45 minutes one session, 2 minutes discussing theory and 40 minutes of these which I've mentioned. So it's time to perform their image and we'll of these things hands-on. So we have a lab simulation software, and this VMware platform will have a lab simulation. We have the attacker machine, the Kalila electronic system, and we have the victim machines as well. So there's a separate class for lab simulation. So I'll show you into the lab and have a practical simulation. Complete a hands-on, but the simulation. Halim and Dikshita.
Yes. So this is for 35
one second. Days. 1 second. Hold on. Dikshita, go ahead.
Yeah, so this is course is for 35 days. Like,
35 days class from Monday to Friday for 1 hour each.
Okay. And also we have plans to do like how is it like
every performance Dikshita. So every class we learn sort of an attack and follow the same thing on your simulation. Rather than along the class, I mean, you do it after the class and after the class, after some important topic, I'll give you to concepts on the same topic a lot more impact. But yeah, again, whatever practical we would try to replicate the same techniques in your session with the same techniques. As mentioned, do not do along with the class, might get confused, replicate the system. Yeah, OS, right, but not get our class with my bit country after the class. So I'll show you this is the class for lab setup installation. So I'll show you how all the lab simulation and you'll see exact things that I show. That's great. You're forming the same exact things I show class. And after a few important topics to learn some extra content, I'll be sharing those assignments as well. You can put that next. Thank you.
Hi, Shoaib.
Hi, Ismail.
What difference between SOC analyst and can you
right. When you talk SOC analysis, that is basically you can perform one analysis at an organization. So they're wondering all the that an organization they're trying to check truly the positives. Okay. Let's say there's a ticket that gets raised for multiple entries of password. So that could be possibly themselves forgotten that is entered, or it could be that there's a brute attack that has multiple different passwords from dictionary and is initiating those. So as a analysis, verify an attack is escalated to the analysis, they verify where the attack was actually acted. And all that happens in SOC and realize the try to prevent those threats in the future. Okay. This falls in network operations center. So in organization, in the network, whatever devices exist, whether it be servers, whether it be firewalls, iPhones, for your routers, whether it be web application endpoints, your servers, your DHCP servers, your mail servers, whether it be vulnerabilities, software, are there any misconfigurations and both? Are the application must or not? Is there any sources unencrypted along the authentication? Is there an update or an unpatched software, or is there a new software which has released with vulnerability that's in your organization? So verification of security on every device in the organization is the NOC, network operations job. So this course will not set 3% oriented, it's not in backend. So that's different in the SOC and destination. This process okay for the second doing.
So
nothing such as the operations SOC. One second, question Haleen is asking. You're audible. Yeah, Haleen, back to your question. This, as mentioned, is already mentioned. This is more focused towards NOC. More than SOC, I'll be sharing the resources, and I train people on SOC as well. I've worked as a specialist with these tools, Splunk and more. So I'll be there to assist you on that. Yeah. Would never recommend things parallelly because that'd be too many tools and too many concepts. So that's how I learned it as well. Okay. So you learn CH for learners one at a time. So you can learn, and afterwards you're interested, you can learn from talkers. Okay. Yeah, you were saying something.
Yeah. So I was asking, like, in the complete course, is a course designed in such a way, like, where the tools are required